Hey friends, it's Angie at Chicken Scratch. Today I'm sharing these reversible fabric baskets with handles, and I made them in 3 different sizes. These are perfect for organizing sewing supplies, holding treats, decorating for the holidays, or giving them as a handmade gift. I'll walk you through the entire process step by step, so let's get started. These are the supplies that we're going to be using today. I've got a rotary cutter, scissors, pens, an erasable pen, pens and clips, and then I've got the label and the fabric for the handles, and this is the outside fabric here, and this is the lining fabric, and then I've got all 4 pieces of interfacing, and then the 2 pieces also for the handle. All of these measurements will be in the free PDF that's available on my website. You can find the link to that PDF in the description on YouTube. Now we're placing the interfacing on the wrong side of the fabric. So we've got 2 pieces for the front and we've got 2 pieces for the lining. And I'm just going to place the interfacing, like I said, on the wrong side of the fabric. The interfacing has a bumpy side to it, and that's the side that you want to place against your fabric. And then we're going to press these. Okay, like I mentioned, you're going to press the interfacing to the wrong side of the fabric. This is just an example. This is a cold iron right now, and I'm just going to show you really quickly that you're going to press that, and then I've already done that off screen. Okay, so here's the outside fabric. You can see the interfacing has been pressed on there. And then here's the lining fabric and the same thing. Okay, so the next step is we are going to add our label. If you do not have a label, feel free to skip this step. I'm going to fold this label in half, and then I'm going to clip it, and then I'm going to pin it. So clip it first to hold it in place, but we can't sew with that clip in place, so we have to pin it, okay? Now we're going to place these right sides together, and we're going to clip around 3 sides. So this would be the bottom, and I'm going to clip that first, and then I'm going to move over to the right side. And then I'll do the other side. So side number 2, and then the final side. We're going to do the same thing on the lining. Okay, so you're going to stitch across this side, and this side. So that means 3 of the 4 sides you're going to stitch around. And we're going to use a 1/4 inch seam. Just make sure that you leave the one side open. Okay, I'm using foot number 57 on my Bernina, and I'm sewing with a 1/4 inch seam. So I'm going to make sure that I got the label sewn into the seam, and then I'm going to remove that pin. So there it is, and that looks good. Okay, so now we're going to box the corners, and for this I'm using a 2-inch box corner. Okay, so 2 inches. You can use any ruler that you have to measure 2 inches, and I'm lining this up with the seam. So don't line it up to the edge of the fabric, because you won't get a true boxed corner. It'll be cattywampus. So again, 2 inches, and you line that up with the seam, both the bottom and the side seam. And I'm doing this on the outside fabric and on the lining fabric. Now we're going to use our scissors to cut out the corners. So we're going to do this on the lining fabric, and then we're going to do it on the outside fabric. Okay, so now we're going to take the outside fabric and bring these seams together, turning those in opposite directions, and then clip it. We're going to do the same thing on this side, making sure that's going in the same direction. So then we're going to clip this one too, and then we're going to be sewing this both pieces straight across. So let me do that to the lining fabric. We're going to stitch straight across with a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to use my scissors to trim this fabric ever so slightly. And if you are new to sewing, skip this step, okay? All this does is reduce the bulk, but you want to make sure you don't cut into your seams. So like I said, if you're new, just skip it. Okay, so I'm going to turn this right side out. So this is my outside fabric. I'm turning it right side out. I'm using my fingernails to kind of push that out on the seams. Okay, so now we're going to mark for the handles. I'm using this ruler and I'm using a 1/2 inch measurement. So take your erasable marker, line the 1/2 inch up with the seam, okay? And we're going to make a mark on the left and the right of the seam, a 1/2 inch mark on the left and the right of the seam, okay? So that was the right side, this is the left side, and then we're going to do this on the other side because we have 2 handles. So again, line that 1/2 inch up with the seam and mark to the left, and then you're going to mark to the right. I'm going to set this aside for now, and we're going to work on the handles. So we've got 2 pieces. We are going to fold this in half and press it. Both of these. We're going to fold it in half and we're going to iron them, okay? So then you're going to open it up and you're going to, and let me recap this. Let me do a finger press here. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold in to that line and you're going to press, and then you're going to fold this into the middle, and then you're going to fold that over and you're going to press it. Okay, so again, I don't have a hot iron. I'm just showing you how to do this. And then once that's been pressed, you're going to place your inner facing on the inside, fold that over, and then fold this over, and then fold that over, okay? And then give it a good press. And so you're going to do that to both pieces. Okay, so here's my handles that I've gone ahead and pressed, and the interfacing is on the inside, so you can see it there, just one strip of interfacing. And now we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam on the left and on the right. Now we're going to add the handles. So we're going to take this piece, the first handle, and line it up with that line that we made. So that 1/2 inch line that we made, we're going to line that up right next to it, and we're going to clip it twice and then pin it. And then we're going to not use that piece. We're going to fold this one over, right? Okay. So then line that up with the other line and then clip it and pin it. Okay, so now for the other side. So same thing. We're going to line up one side with that 1/2 inch line that we made. And we're going to clip it and then pin it. Now just make sure when you do your handles that you have them turn the same direction. So watch how I do this. Okay, so I'll pick that up and see how I fold that. You just want to make sure you go in the same orientation on both sides. We're going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch straight across using a 1/4 inch seam. So I'm just checking to make sure I got those handles, and I did. And what I'm going to do now is use my iron to remove those lines. So that was an erasable pen that I was using, and I'm just going to apply some heat to erase those lines now. Okay, I'm going to place the outside fabric to the lining fabric, right sides facing together. So I'm just using my fingers to get all of that pressed in there, get it lined up. And I'm going to start on one side and line up those seams. So the outside fabric, the lining fabric are right sides facing together. I'm lining up the seam of the outside and the lining, and I'm going to clip it. I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. I'm just going to line up those seams and clip it. Then I'm going back over to the other side and I'm going to clip where the handles are. Okay, so there's 2 sides on both sides, or 2 pieces. So I'm clipping those, and then I'm going to go around the basket and I'm going to clip them. Now we need to leave an opening to turn this basket right side out, right? So I first clip it to make sure that everything lines up well, and then I go back, remove a couple clips, and use my pins to mark where I'm going to start sewing and where I'm going to start and stop. So that is going to be my starting, and this is going to be my stop. So again, to recap, I'm going to start sewing on this one right here, the green one. Hey, wait, they're both green, right? So I'm going to start there, go around, and then stop where that green one is. I'm going to remove this table from my machine, and then on my plate right here, there's a 1/2 inch line. You can use some tape to make a marking if you want to, but this is the only part of this fabric basket that I use a 1/2 inch seam. Everything else is a 1/4 inch, but at this stage, at this part, I'm using a 1/2 inch seam, and it makes this so much easier to close this up when you're done making this. So again, a 1/2 inch seam at this point only. This is the only part. And don't forget to leave that opening. So when you get to that next green pin, just make sure you leave that open so that you can turn your basket right side out. If you accidentally sew it, you can just get your seam ripper out. But that's why we use those pins, is to mark your starting and stopping point. Okay, so here's the opening. Well, where is it? Over here. Now we're going to turn this right sides out, and this will take a hot minute. I'm just using my finger to push in those corners. You can use a tool if you'd prefer. I just use my fingernail to push on those. Okay, so now I'm trying to fold this so that it looks the best. And this is why I told you to use a 1/2 inch seam, because this process is so much easier when you're using a 1/2 inch seam, okay? So what I'm doing now is just closing this opening, and I'm going to clip it with a bunch of clips. Once I clip the opening, I'm going to go around the whole entire basket and clip it. So I'm going to go around the whole basket with all the clips, and then we're going to stitch with a 1/4 inch seam around the whole basket. I'm going to start sewing on one of the side seams, and then I'm going to end on that same seam, except exceed past it a few stitches. Here's my finished reversible fabric basket with handles. Isn't it so cute? I absolutely love how these turned out. The handles add such a fun touch, and because they're reversible, it's like getting 2 baskets in one project. You just turn them inside out for a completely different look. If you'd like to make your own, I have a free PDF available that includes all the measurements and supplies for this project, and it includes all 3 sizes that you see here. I'll have the link for that in the description below. I'd love to know which size is your favorite. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed today's project, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my Chicken Scratch channel for more paper crafting and sewing inspiration. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. Happy stitching!